Hey guys, Taylor from Happy Hawks Homestead here. Today we're going to take a look at a video that Corey was able to capture before we left our city house and moved out to the country homestead.
Our little suburban garden here. We'll start with our 2 garden beds. As you can see here, we pulled up some of our Spanish white onions and they did really well. Got a good size to them. Here were some volunteer cherry tomatoes from last year that came up, so we just let them go in our pepper bed. But as you can see here, we got a few different varieties of peppers. This first one here is called the Buena Mulata pepper, and it produces this really beautiful purple pepper, and they're quite spicy, a little bit more spicy than a jalapeno. Speaking of which, next up in our bed here with these white flowers are our jalapenos, and they're coming along. As you can see, we got some going pretty well here. A little more size before they're ready to go. Smack dab in the middle here, we got a Cali Wonder bell pepper plant, and got some good sized bell peppers in there. We'll let those change from yellow and red before we probably pick any more of those. And in front, we got our banana peppers. Obviously, some of these are ready to pick. This one's turning. As you can see, they turned from a yellow to a deepish purple color. But they've been loaded. We've already taken multiple harvests off of these, so looking good. Next door to that, we got our tomato bed. We put 3 different kinds of tomatoes in here this year. Up front, we got our beefsteaks, and it looks like we got one starting to ripen. We got a little blossom end rot on this one, but otherwise, they're looking pretty good. Next, we got Aroma Tomatoes, which we like to use to make salsa or sauces. And they're coming along. And then the next here at the end, we got more of these large red cherries. As you can see, those are just now blooming here, mid-July. We're starting to get, ripening, not blooming, but starting to get our harvest off of those. And then these are some more volunteers that came up, so we just left them. As we go down here at the end of the yard, we this year dug out about a 3-foot section to do some more expansion of our garden. Planted some zinnias around just for pollinators, and well, they're quite pretty. Another volunteer tomato, looks like a cherry. In the back here we have our strawberries, and these strawberries are, as you can see, Proven Harvest Berry Treasure Red, and we've already got one little harvest off of them. Even though they're the first year, then they're quite small, but they just bloom continuously, so that's really nice, and they'll spread and grow. We have our more Spanish whites. Now these, we started a little later, and they never really grew like the others we picked earlier, but we'll take them and have some nice little onions off them. As we go down the line here, these are some sweet melons. So they're not watermelons, they grow about softball size. You can see we got some starting in there, and we're not expecting to get a lot of fruit off of those, but they'll be a nice little snack. You can cut them in half and just eat them out. Next to those are our line of cucumbers, which we've trellised with a trellis net here, and we've already probably got, I believe my wife probably has already made 7 or 8 jars of pickles, and they're going well. You can see all the yellow blooms. In front here we planted marigolds every 16 inches or so. Again, that'll be add some beauty this fall and help with the pollinators. It's a good companion plant, kind of repel some pests. Down the line here we got our sunflowers, which are heading. We shouldn't be much longer before we start to get our flowers to pop on those. These are your Mammoth sunflowers, so as you can see they get about 10, 12 feet tall or better. We had some peas here, but those are done for the season. We got more zinnias, as you can see. And we did try to do some beans up the sunflower stalks, but they just didn't get enough sunlight, so they haven't done too well. We'll get a few beans off of those, but next to our sunflowers, as I back up here, we have our corn. We planted about 50, not all came up, but nice tight block. This variety of corn is glass corn, so if you're not familiar with it, it makes this beautiful cobs with all multicolored corn. It's good for popping or just decorative corn, so excited to see that come through. In front of that, we were hoping to trellis up this purple bean. Again, I think they've been shaded a bit much, but you can see here, have a nice long purple bean. So looks like they've gotten eaten up a little bit here lately, but. And then next to that we have our Connecticut Pumpkins, which are doing quite well. We had trouble with the squash bugs last year, but hopefully with some work this year, some neem oil and diatomaceous earth, hopefully we can keep those at bay. But as you can see inside, we're really starting to get some beautiful pumpkins, so hopefully we can keep those from getting eaten up this year and produce several good round pumpkins. So this is our backyard garden. Gives us enough to kind of can and get through the winter with some different vegetables. Earlier in the season, before we planted the cucumbers and marigolds, this was all lettuce and carrots. So we had several harvests of cut and come again lettuce, butter crunch and romaine. Behind that we had long rows of carrots, which we've frozen for the season, what we couldn't all eat. And a lot of the lettuce went to our backyard chickens, which we can take a look at this morning. There's roaming around yet this morning. Hey girls. Currently we got 10 hens. So we are about, I think 14, 15 weeks old. So not at laying age yet, but we're getting closer. We just added our nesting box here to our backyard coop. So we'll introduce them to that here before too long. You can see here our barred rocks. We have 2 barred rocks. It's Ripley and Nanook. Behind that we have 4 Easter eggers, which we're excited about. The variety of colors they're going to offer in eggs, somewhere between blue, green, and pink. Right here we have a buff Brahma. She's the shy one of the group. Down the line here, our Bantam Cochin. She's a blue Cochin, very sweet. Our 2 Bantam Buff Orpingtons. Hanging out here, Letty and Lottie. But yeah, we put that chicken coop in early this spring and got our chickens all set up. We can do a quick tour of that while we're here. We have a PVC pipe feeder, which we fill and just goes down and they'll eat out of that. We need to get some kind of cap system because they love to drag the food out all over. And then we have our water barrel here, which hooks to a front gutter we added on, and then we took just this pipe down into a filter, which fills this with rainwater, and then that can go down our sprinkler line here and into some more PVC pipe to fill these cups, which they can just peck at and fill up with water to be fully hydrated, which is a nice automatic system, so we don't have to come out here multiple times a day and fill up their water, except for those hot days when we give them, supplement them with a little extra in our hanging feeder there. Hey girls. They think I'm gonna give them treats, so they're kind of excited right now. Maybe later. So that's just a view at our little backyard homestead. Thanks for checking it out.